El día de hoy tenemos un episodio especial ya que está en inglés, pero es importante iniciar conversaciones acerca de cómo incrementar nuestros niveles de confianza en nosotros mismos, ya que esta es una conversación que no nos enseñaron en el colegio. También cómo es importante desarrollar nuestra certeza. Para saber más tips acerca de cómo incrementar la confianza en ti mismo y más, lo vamos a conversar en este momento. Así que quédate con nosotros. Comenzamos. Bienvenido a tu espacio de reflexión, cuestionamiento y curiosidad sobre temas que no nos enseñaron en el colegio, como lo es la educación financiera, el desarrollo personal y mucho más. Soy Mari Francis Mocina y esto es Buscando Expansión. Acompáñame a hablar con expertos o amigos que nos ayuden a descubrir herramientas que nos permitan expandirnos, sacar nuestra mejor versión y alcanzar nuestra independencia financiera. Hola chicos, ¿cómo están? Bienvenidos a otro episodio de Buscando Expansión. Gracias por estar aquí. Estoy desde Madrid, España, compartiendo con ustedes un tema que es súper necesario para encontrar nuestra libertad financiera. Y esas son cosas como la certeza, la confianza, seguridad, creer en ti mismo. Y obviamente estos son temas que lamentablemente no nos enseñaron en el colegio, pero es súper importante para poder seguir en este camino de, bueno, las personas que queremos alcanzar nuestra libertad financiera, porque en el camino hacia esa libertad financiera pueden haber muchos obstáculos, pueden haber muchas pruebas un poco retadoras y queremos abandonar nuestra meta en la mitad del camino, de que no es posible tener una vida sin deudas o que no es posible alcanzar nuestra libertad financiera o que no podemos vivir nuestra vida al máximo. Entonces, el día de hoy tenemos un episodio especial porque es en inglés. Estoy con un coach. Él es de Australia, se llama Shako Lokman y se especializa en esto, en ayudar a personas a confiar en sí mismas. Ahora voy a cambiar al inglés porque él no habla español y también para que ustedes practiquen este idioma porque sabemos que aprender o saber el inglés es una excelente herramienta para encontrar nuevas oportunidades, nuevos trabajos y obviamente esto nos permite hacer más dinero. Hola Shako, ¿cómo estás?
Very good. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for being here. It's a pleasure to speak to you about, the coach that you make. So first of all, explain to us a little bit about your job and how you can help people.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me, Marie. So, as you said in Spanish, I sort of understood that. I'm learning my Spanish, just
Cool.
a total beginner, but I'm a communication coach and I help people, men and women all around the world, basically learn how to communicate confidently, authentically, without any hindrances from insecurity. So, if somebody feels a bit insecure or like they feel like they can't be themselves, then I step in and I kind of guide them through that process.
Perfect. Yes. Especially what I was saying in the introduction is that sometimes we are trying to maybe have a goal. In this case, the goal of this podcast is to find our financial freedom. Yep. And we can kind of like sometimes get a little bit uncertain or we don't know what is going to happen. So yep. In that case, the goal of this podcast, and so people can understand what's going on, is that we want to increase our levels of confidence and trust. So, because we didn't learn that at school. And not only, right. To find our financial freedom. So it could be anything in life. So first of all, I wanted to know, how can we develop certainty?
How can we develop certainty?
Yeah.
That's a great question, and it's an important question as well, Marie, because first of all, I want to acknowledge that the fact that you're doing a podcast about financial freedom is amazing. That makes me happy because that's one of those topics, as you said, where they don't teach you in school, just like communication skills. And both of these things, there's a correlation. Communication skills and financial skills, financial literacy, are two areas which are so important for your success in life. That's just true. Communication for your relationships and financial for your overall ability to provide for yourself and for your family. And in order to be successful in communication, but also financially, you need certainty, which is why I love that question. And that's actually one of the pillars of confidence that we teach our clients. And the way that you can build certainty over time, when you meet people and they have an air of confidence, they look like they know who they are, they believe in what they're saying, they believe in their service, their product, maybe as a business.
Correct.
It gives you trust and hope, doesn't it?
Yes.
It makes you trust them.
Yeah, it actually, that energy of maybe confidence, it's like contagious. It's like, oh, I want to be like that person, even though you're not interested in that product, or maybe you're not interested in what they're selling, but just that energy of being confident, I think it's very good.
It is. It's contagious.
It's contagious, yes.
It's contagious and inspiring. When we're around people, when we are in the environment of somebody who is really confident, it actually helps you relax because they give off the aura that everything's under control, everything's fine, everything will be okay. And that comes from being certain. So your question was, how do you attain certainty, right?
Exactly.
So the way that you do that is by trusting yourself. Now that may be easier said than done, especially if you grew up with some kind of anxiety. Maybe you weren't as confident growing up, like myself. I was bullied when I was growing up, so I had social anxiety, for example, hence why I'm a communication coach. And part of that process, Marie, and for everybody listening, was doing little things throughout my life where I was proving to myself that I trust myself.
Can you give us an example?
Yes.
Maybe?
Yeah, I'll give you two examples.
Okay.
First example is traveling solo. When you travel by yourself, even if it's to a different city in your own country, what you're communicating to yourself is that you trust yourself. Maybe you even move out of home. You've been living with family and you decide to leave home and get an apartment by yourself or with people. You're communicating to yourself and you're reinforcing the attitude that I trust myself. That's the first example. The second is investing in yourself, which I think we'll talk about a little bit as well.
Yeah, before we start this episode, we kind of talk about that, but we need to develop that idea that investing in yourself can be a little bit hard too.
Mm-hmm.
So can you explain to us, yes, a little bit more about investing in yourself and how does it help us to grow that confidence?
Well, you're spot on. You said it's a little bit hard. And that's why it builds your confidence. Because when you do something which is a little bit tricky, like investing in yourself, the story that I shared with Marie before the podcast was last year, I invested the largest amount of money that I've ever invested in a course, a business course. The moment I did that, I realized I broke a seal. I allowed myself to enter the world of financial freedom. How? Because when you invest in yourself, you're doing the opposite of what somebody who lives in scarcity would do.
Exactly.
When you invest in yourself, especially monetarily, you're trusting yourself. That is an indication that you trust yourself. I say that to all my clients as well. And I don't teach financial freedom. I teach communication, but I tell them you are financially going to get better because of your investment, because of your trust in yourself.
Okay. Yeah. So, before these, yeah, you mentioned these little steps. So you said traveling and then investing in any, course and stuff. So after that, you start to see this process, or, it's a slow process, or we can build it up very fast, or it's different for every person.
It can happen pretty rapidly.
Okay.
Mary. And you might agree with me on this one. I'd love to hear your experience as well. But one of the best ways to achieve financial freedom and change your mindset about money, which is the most important thing, of course, is being very particular about who you spend your time with.
Sure. Yes.
I
Of
noticed,
course.
I noticed when I started to hang around people that are investing in themselves, that are successful, that are financially intelligent, my financial intelligence went up and up. That was the quickest way for me.
Okay. Yeah, we have talked about that in the podcast. That yeah, you need to be surrounded with people that maybe what we said that maybe gives you that energy that oh, if they can do it, I can do it as well. So
Exactly.
okay.
Yeah, it confirms for you that it's a reality, especially entrepreneurs. When you hang around somebody in a workspace, for example, or you find them on Facebook, you can be proactive about it. That's the thing. Don't watch this podcast or listen to it and just get motivated by what Marie's saying. Actually, take the advice and apply it practically. So you can find entrepreneurial financial intelligence groups on Facebook and you can go spend time with these people. So why wouldn't you? If you're listening to this, then that means this is important to you. This topic that Maria has taken her time to present to the world means something to you. And you have to be proactive about it. Anyway, I can go on a tangent about this.
Okay, well, we were talking about also the scarcity mindset, and we were talking about this as well. That you were saying that you don't agree that much about budgeting.
No, actually, let me correct you.
Okay.
I believe budgeting is an intelligent thing to do and it's necessary, absolutely. But what I don't agree with is always, especially if you're looking to increase your financial success, not just trying to save money wherever you go, because that can very subtly affect your mindset. So for the example I gave you was if you want to have a beautiful breakfast for yourself and you see some eggs that are €3 and you see some other eggs that look much smaller and they're €1.50, if you pick the cheaper egg simply because you want to save money and you're afraid of paying the €3 because you're afraid that you're not going to get more money, I would just be very careful of that. Budgeting is important and helpful, but notice if it's a habit. If you habitually are always looking at the price tag, always, then that probably says something about your mindset. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, that's true. Actually, controlling so much your money can bring you to a scarcity mindset, and that's not building your confidence.
Exactly.
You're not building,
Yeah.
this trust in yourself that it's like, I can manage my money, I can take control of my finances.
Exactly. Yeah, you're saying I don't have enough. Like I'm not going to survive. And the biggest financial leaps that I've made in my personal life have been when I jumped in the deep end. For example, when I would rent and sign a contract for a property that I couldn't afford,
Okay.
but then I managed to afford it because it makes you work. Or when I invested in that program that I told you guys about, I couldn't afford that either. I could afford the first 2 months, but then being involved in it, it forces you
Okay. So,
to
well,
figure it
but
out.
that's a little bit tricky though, because it's like you're investing a lot of money on some kind of, investment in yourself, but at the same time, it's like, how do you keep that motivation to like keep going? Like, I'm gonna make this money to pay the next month for this coaching.
Not everybody here's a controversial idea for you guys. Not everybody is cut out for this. Maybe you're listening, and I'm sorry, but maybe you're listening and you just aren't cut out for it. You need an intense desire. And that desire, that motivation that you speak of, it comes from a purpose. What is your purpose? Is it to buy a house for your parents? That's honorable. Is it to build a school in Asia? That's honorable. That's actually my goal and then my friend's goal, the examples I just gave. Those are big goals. And when you have a big why, it just motivates you and you have to want it. And you said it's tricky. Of course it's tricky.
Yeah.
It's not easy and it's not meant to be easy.
So you think that you need this desire that you wanted so bad that that's what motivates you to continue, or what is that sense of so we can have the confidence or the certainty that we're going to reach this goal?
Mm.
Like it's something like on your mindset that you're like, yes, I want this so bad, or is it like a few steps like you said before?
the motivation that comes from desire is powerful. It's extremely powerful. But I believe you need a greater purpose.
Okay.
It could be anything. Like if you're religious, it could be God. If you're family oriented, it could be a family. If you came from ground zero, it could be creating a legacy for yourself. So it's not so much just seeking pleasure and desire through money, which won't last,
Exactly.
but it's rather having a greater purpose. We can get a little bit philosophical about that as well, because I believe when it comes to money, money is not evil. Money is not good. Money simply is a tool that amplifies who you are. So if you're an evil, greedy person when you're poor, when you're rich, you're going to be even more evil and even more greedy. If you're generous and loving when you're poor, you're going to be even more generous and loving when you're rich. I truly believe that.
Of course, yes. And like you said, money, it's something to amplify, whatever you are. So yeah, if you're greedy, yes. If you have money, you're going to be more greedy.
Yeah.
Because that's what money does. So also, I wanted to ask you, what confidence tips can you give us to, increase our confidence or maybe trust in yourself? I think this is such a big thing, trusting in yourself.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I can give you guys some tips for sure.
Yes, share with us. What tips can you give us?
Yeah, I'll share a couple of tips that I give my clients actually.
Okay.
The first one is find opportunities in your everyday life to step out of your comfort zone, even a little bit, even a fraction.
Okay.
For example, we just went to Starbucks, right? We got a coffee before this podcast. Something that you can do if you have social anxiety, for example, or if you don't feel totally comfortable in social settings, is you can ask the person making the coffee, how's your day going? ¿Cómo estás? You can just create a little conversation, and the outcome is irrelevant. I want to make that clear. Even if they're very dry, unresponsive, that doesn't matter. What matters is the fact that you stepped out of your comfort zone. You could approach a stranger and compliment them on their outfit. These little things I encourage my clients to do over time. Excuse me. Because I've noticed that over time, these little things increase your confidence.
Okay. So, what can be a bigger one to increase our confidence?
I can speak from experience.
Okay.
Traveling alone.
Oh, what you mentioned. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a big one.
Quitting your job.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's a big one.
That's a big one, yes.
Joining a class, like a dance class, boxing, something that is out of your comfort zone, and think about what you're scared of most. Okay. For example, actually, here's a great suggestion for your audience, and especially in this topic, I notice people who are interested in personal development and financial success. You see a lot of those kinds of people at Toastmasters.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that's another example. If you want to increase your confidence, join your local Toastmasters. They have one in every city.
Public speaking. Yes, I think public speaking is so huge. Like it helps you so much, but people are so afraid of it. Actually, supposedly one of the biggest fears.
Yeah. Before death, apparently.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I read. So I guess that's a huge one. Yes. But hopefully people follow this, tips so we can increase our confidence. But anyway, thank you so much for telling us all our tips. And before we end this, I wanted to ask you, what is expansion for you?
Ooh, what a beautiful question. I got tingles through my body when you said that, I swear to God. Expansion is growing in all ways, always. Meaning mentally growing, spiritually growing, physically, emotionally, just constant growth. That's expansion. Excellent. Well, I wanted to thank you so much, Shako, for being here, and good luck on your coaching career. My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me and for creating this space. It was a real pleasure. Thank you.
Y de vuelta en español, espero que estos pequeños tips o lo que conversamos aquí te sirvan para confiar en ti mismo, no solo en tu vida financiera, sino en tu vida en general. Por eso la pregunta de la semana es, ¿qué vas a hacer el día de hoy para mejorar la confianza en ti mismo? Porque recuerda que no necesitas que sea lunes, que sea una resolución de año nuevo o inicios de mes para hacer cambios en tu vida. Solo necesitas el aquí y el ahora. Ya sabes que me puedes responder en mis redes sociales como Instagram, TikTok o YouTube con el nombre de usuario It's Marie Francis. No te olvides de evaluar y compartir este episodio con quien pienses que lo necesite. Nos vemos, hasta la próxima.